Hey guys, how's it going? And welcome to another entry in our Community Cast series. In this match, we're going to have a showdown between the Wood Elves, who are going to be led by a lady, and if I'm not mistaken, I think she's on foot. And she's going to be facing off against the foul Skaven hordes, who are going to be led by Trudge Craventail. Without further ado, let's jump right into this match and have some fun. So here in the back, it looks like the Wood Elves are going to be coming out of the gates pretty hard with a pretty substantial skirmish. They do have two groups of the standard Glade Riders, so no hagbane tips, no funny business. But regardless, they're very good against Skaven, good at picking off Rat Ogres, and with 150 range, they can actually outrange all of the Skaven skirmishers. So Gutter Runners with Poison, I think, have 70 range in total, and the Slingers, so Skaven Slave Slingers, as well as the Night Runner Slingers and Gutter Runner Slingers and all those guys, I think have 140. It doesn't look like the Skaven player brought any of those, unfortunately, so I can't really compare, but I believe that with 150 range, they pretty much have impunity here. If you have good micro, granted Slingers can still get in range, and if you don't like move them out of that range kind of buffer of 10, they can still get tagged. But I do like them quite a bit, and with decent combat stats here, they have 28 melee attack, 24 melee defense, and 27 weapon strength. They can actually get in and run over Skaven slaves, get rear charges against clan rats to break their leadership, harass artillery, definitely very solid stuff. On top of that, he does have some wild riders with shields, these angry Rudolphs here. Going to be pretty good at harassing Skaven troops, and you don't really need like heavy AP cav against Skaven. These guys with their 45 weapon strength and a charge bonus of 67 definitely going to be pretty effective against things like Plague Monks. They'll do well against Rat Ogres. I mean, pretty much everything on the field here, these guys should have a pretty good time with. However, they are a pretty big target for Warp Lightning Cannons, and if you are going to be bringing Wild Riders in this matchup, I definitely recommend bringing the Shielded variant because of the Pebbles. So if they're Skaven Slaves or any sort of Slinger unit, the shields are really going to save them quite a bit of damage because I think it is 55% with the Silver Shield. Yeah, it looks like 55% of Small Arms Fire. So that's it for the Wood Elf Vanguard here. You can see in the front line for the Wood Elves, it's going to be fairly aggressive. So Dryads and War Dancers. Dryads do very well against all Skaven infantry with the exception of Storm Vermin. So if you think your opponent's bringing the Storm Vermin, maybe it's one of your buddies, you know how they like to play. I would definitely avoid the Dryads. But against everything else, a lot of the Skaven troops, Plague Monks, Censor Bears, they all have a really high physical resist. And the Dryads actually do magic damage. They can get around that, which is cool. War Dancers, also a very good lawnmower unit, but they are going to be taking a beating as well. So they only have 15 armor, okay melee defense, but even like Plague Monks or Censor Bears or any low tier infantry is going to chip away at them. So they're a very fast aggressive unit here in the front line. So I think in total it's just going to be 4 Dryads and 2 War Dancers. He does also have a Branch Wraith for his caster, Earthblood, and it looks like that's going to be, is that Pendulum? I always get those graphics confused here. So look, I hate when this happens. We'll check when he's a little bit more alone, but it looks like that's going to be a Pendulum or a Melkost or something. But the Branch Wraith pretty good. It does give melee attack to nearby troops, so you can see the melee attack of these Dryads in the center is going to be 38 as opposed to the 33 of these ones on the far side. So kind of like a little corpse guard effect there. 2 Eternal Guards in the back for his missiles. He does have Deepwood Scouts with the Swift Shiver Shards and 2 groups of Way Watchers. So probably going to be trying to drag out Tretch and focus him down with the Glade Lord or isolate any of their high-value targets that they may bring. So pretty cool stuff here for the Wood Elves. And for the Skaven, he does have a couple groups of Gutter Runners. He has a bit of a formation here, so one here, bit of a triangle formation going on. So these Gutter Runners going to be the initial formation to slow down the Wood Elves, get some harass on Dryads, maybe absorb some of the fire of those very expensive Way Watchers. Yeah, could potentially be. 2 more groups here. So these Gutter Runners are actually going to be charging in to pin down these Glade Riders, which is awesome. So Gutter Runners are just solid. Really kind of a sneaky. They have pretty good combat stats. They're so sneaky. Look at these rats. 26 melee attack, decent combat stats. They can definitely trade with some of the Glade Riders. Wild Riders will mow them down, but if he's able to kind of pin the Wood Elves here, that could actually allow the Rat Ogres and Spears to catch up. So good stuff. A lot of Clan Rat Spears, Skaven Slave Spears, some Rat Ogres here in the back are going to be chasing, but also taking fire. His main army is going to be Plague Monk Censor Bears and Clan Rats with shields, just trying to go very wide to minimize the effectiveness of the Wood Elf missile play. Tretch is also pretty good. He's hard to snipe, somewhat durable, anti-large against like Cav and things like that, and Dragons. Warlock Engineer for the Howling Warp Gale, so had the Glade been brought in the air, the Skaven could have, pinned it down and shot it out of the skies probably. Censor Bears and some Poison Wind Globadiers and a Warp Lightning Cannon, which actually took some heavy damage, but it looks like all 3 cannons are still alive. So without further ado, guys, this is perfect timing. Let's get the show on the road. So the rats here charging in, they do get their snare net, so all of these units are slowed. They're getting poisoned. The Warp Lightning Cannon is also shooting in on some of the Wild Riders and Glade Riders, so definitely some good stuff there, doing huge damage. Actually taking out about 8 models there. And as these troops do run from the Gutter Runners with poison, they're also going to be taking the Shurikens. The rats are going to be throwing their Ninja Stars, so definitely a very good initial engagement here for the Skaven. They're able to force out the Wood Elf harassment, and just, the Warp Lightning Cannon just really, really good against Wood Elves at focusing down any sort of Cav or harass units. So shooting in there, taking those guys out. In the front, it's going a little bit worse for the Skaven. The Gutter Runners with poison are taking some pretty substantial fire here from the Deepwood Scouts. And it looks like the Way Watchers did unleash a volley as well. But the frontline engagement's about to be underway. Skaven Slaves in the front to take the initial brunt of the charge. Tretch Craventail going to be boldly leading his forces into the new age here for the Skaven. But here come the Clan Rats in the front line, or Skaven Slaves, right into the War Dancers. fucking up their charge a little bit. The Dryads will just absolutely annihilate this. That's going to be pretty one-sided there. But they actually kind of broke the charge of the War Dancers and allowed the Rats here as well as Tretch to get in there with their Prison Shanks. And Tretch actually does have a Prison Shank. Oh, did he just... Look at it. Oh, man. Tretch just, like, leaped. I've never seen that before. So he actually, like, leaped and... I guess like ripped her throat out or something. Man, that is really, really cool. I'm glad we got to see that. But the skirmishing here on the far side going pretty well for the Skaven. The Rat Ogres are going to be charging in, but the Dryads are supported by Eternal Guards as well as the Wild Riders, which will definitely make short work of the Rat Ogres. So he could lose a lot of these Ogres here. They're pinned with spears. Rat Ogres are still going to take pretty good damage against from Dryads because they have very low armor, so they're going to be pulling back, probably going to get some of the support of these Skaven slaves and these clan rats with shields here. So very back and forth engagement, but the Rat Ogres definitely took quite a bit of damage from those guys. Wild Riders just hit like trucks. In the far side, it looks like, in the far side of the battlefield, it looks like he's using the Skaven slave spears to march in front of the gun runners to take some of the fire, and the gun runners are kind of chasing down the Glade Riders and doing some really good work. Warp Lightning Cannons continuing to rain fire here, but over here it looks like things are getting a little bit wild. So Praven Othrama going down on the Censer Bearers, obviously the most powerful part of the front line for the Skaven here, so they're getting focused down. It looks like the Deepwood Scouts and the Way Watchers are shooting as well, and the Glady also sitting back here, quite the dramatic pose as she unleashes an arrow right there on the Skaven. And Tretch and the boys are pushing forward though. There's clan rats with shields who are going to be very, very good against Way Watchers and these types of troops. So the Elves definitely need to fall back. Warp Lightning going down on the Deepwood Scouts, and it looks like some Skaven slaves, so such a cost-effective situation for the Skaven, getting those slaves just wasting the ammunition of these Deepwood Scouts who, when they're out of ammo, are definitely going to struggle in this matchup a little bit. But it looks like over here, the Eternal Guard and the War Dancers were able to mulch this side of the battlefield. Dryads also pushing through the Clan Rats with shields, but not without a loss. They also took quite a beating, and the Censer Bearers should be able to take them out fairly quickly. Here it looks like we still have a fight between the Eternal Guard as well as the Clan Rats with shields, and it looks like the Eternal Guard are going to get swarmed. But the Wood Elf skirmish forces, so the Glade Riders and I think the Wild Riders are pretty much done for. Let's see if we can find them on the battlefield. Yeah, it looks like... Wild Riders, yeah, they might have gotten taken out by the Warp Lightning Cannon, but he's starting to circle up and around, maybe going to have some pressure on the artillery, which isn't super heavily protected. There are some pretty low health Rat Ogres here, but he might be able to outmaneuver them, and maybe the Skaven player won't notice they're back there. But it looks like the Skaven are also pushing the Wood Elves back. So right here you can see the War Dancers are pretty much broken. The Gutter Runners are throwing their Ninja Stars as they chase, but they're probably going to get picked apart by these Swift Shiver Shards, which is hit like absolute trucks. So Swift Shiver Shards, if you guys are looking, they actually have less range than the standard Deepwood Scouts, but they've also fired twice, so they hit really, really hard here. And the Gutter Runners, yeah, they get mulched by that. Right here, the Branch Wraith is caught by Tretch Craventail. You can see he's going to be, or she is going to be trying to get away. Hopefully Tretch doesn't leap on the Branch Wraith and take her out, but these are just Clan Rats with shields. If they're able to be forced off and Tretch is in the open right now, the Wood Elves have a pretty good firing concave, and these are just Skaven slaves. It looks like the Deepwood Scouts are going to be going into melee to try and finish them off, which is pretty cool if they actually were, but they probably could have finished them off fast. I don't know, yeah. Well, their melee attack's actually really low, so maybe not. But Skaven slaves are going to get picked apart here, and then I feel like Tretch is going to be a little bit isolated, and from there, Praven Othrama could go down, which would pin Tretch, and there's a massive, heavy-hitting group of Way Watchers here, 2 groups, and they actually have pretty good ammunition. So very even battle right now. Bounce of Power is like dead in the middle. Both factions are kind of winning on one side of the battlefield. So the Skaven are kind of being slowly pulled apart over here, whereas over here it looks like the Skaven have pushed off the Glade Riders. You can see in the back the skirmishing from the Gut Runners. The Warp Lightning Cannon able to blast those guys off. So very, very even back and forth battle. But this is just like we were predicting. You can see Tretch here does have the support of some Clan Rats. We're blocking some of those shots, but he's Praven Othramad. He's taking a ton of damage. He's at negative leadership. And Tretch is very durable in melee, but he doesn't really have too much to help him. I mean, he does have some missile resist. We'll have to check what that actually is. And while we're here, let's see what the Branch Wraith, the other ability is. So it's a Penumbral Pendulum, so maybe if there was like a big group of Storm Vermin, he could have gotten that off. Over here, the Deepwood Scouts are being chased down by the Skaven slaves who are just doing massive work over here. But finally, the Wild Riders are going to come from the hill and are just going to lance down these rats and finally get rid of them. So the Wood Elves are able to secure this part of the battlefield, which is good. Oftentimes in Wood Elf games, when you're playing a very missile-centric build like he is, I mean, although he had mixed forces, he had pretty good melee as well. It's just a matter of securing your missile backline, getting rid of the pressure, and then from there, just kind of picking apart your opponent. So Tretch is actually shattered. 176 HP, negative 57 leadership. He is not coming back. Glade Lord is able to break some of these Clan Rats here. Looks like 1 leadership. Maybe she's going to keep fighting. Who knows? But yeah, at this point, basically things have just kind of reset a little bit. You can see the Warp Lightning Cannon here, Rat Ogres, Censer Bearers. This is not bad for the Skaven though, because they do have the Warp Lightning Cannon. You can see they're going to be shooting in, and they actually get some really nice shots there on the Branch Wraith. Kind of hanging tight, and probably going to force the Wood Elves in, but again, the Wood Elves could fall back, and that's probably what they should do, is get all their Wood Elf forces, fall back, use any healing from the Branch Wraith to get the maximum effectiveness from the heal, and heal up as many troops as you possibly can, because the Wood Elves still have some healthy troops. 67 Eternal Guard here. In the back, they have a ton of archers, and Way Watchers are not pushovers in melee. Definitely going to be able to beat clan rats and things like that, so there's a pretty substantial force. And they do have a force multiplier from the Branch Wraith, which can give melee attack and melee defense to those guys, so there's some give and take. Here you can see the Wild Riders are going to be chasing down clan rats. Over here on the far side, Gutter Runners with poison are actually fighting Eternal Guard, and the Gutter Runners will definitely win, simply because they have the numbers. But yeah, both forces kind of just getting their business together. We'll go ahead and fast forward, because now there's a little bit of posturing. They're basically just cleaning up the remnants of the opponent's forces. So yeah, the skirmishers in the back for the Wood Elves, those Glade Riders were pushed off. Skaven have now formed ranks here, and this is, I love battles like this where both armies kind of, to just get their forces together. They rally, they heal. You can see that there was an Earthblood right there that really tops off the Wood Elf forces. Balance of power slightly favoring the Wood Elves. There goes, was that another Earthblood? For some reason, I didn't see the tooltip, but I could have sworn it looked like they were healing. But anyways, the Wood Elves, now that they've healed, are going to be moving out. The Glade Lord here is going to be shooting at the Warlock Engineer. Definitely pretty good at sniping such targets. And the battle is underway. So the Glade Lord does kind of get caught here a little bit. So a little bit wild. She is on foot. These rats are definitely going to be dropping some DPS. I mean, not heavy, but it's just going to be kind of that numbers game, right? You can see she's, since we started looking at the tooltip here, has taken about 150 damage, give or take. So 17 War Dancers pushing in to support the Glade Lord, but very rough stuff. They're getting caught already. On the far side, the Deepwood Scouts with the Swift Shiver Shards are going in to melee with the Gutter Runners, but it looks like they might have had stock on when they were sneaking up, so they didn't see them until the last second. But the Gutter Runners should definitely pursue here. They can tear them to shreds. Oh, never mind. The Dryads were actually coming, so I see why they ran. Definitely makes sense. But yeah, kind of forming a bit of a Death Star here. The Glade Lord and the Branch Wraith and the War Dancers. War Dancers just have such good leadership. Earthblood going down, and with the Branch Wraith, who does cause fear, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, I think it does. It's going to actually help to break a lot of these troops. Warplating Cannon doesn't have too many good targets. These guys in the back, the Way Watchers, actually have stock, so there's no way of seeing them as they get in a position here. And they still have a lot of ammo for this point in the game, so very beautiful ammunition conservation here from the Wood Elf player. And you can see that the Wild Riders are going to help to break these clan rats with shields. So both players just playing amazing stuff. Just great play here. And it looks like the Deepwood Scouts with the Swift Shiver Shards are going to be picking apart the Rat Ogres with a very nice Praven Alframa. Going to give them some negative missile resist, which is always a fun time. And these Gutter Runners trying to save the Rat Ogres, because Rat Ogres are one of those units that hit pretty hard. I mean, they could potentially finish off the Glade Lord here, but the rats are going to be swarming in. So they start chasing the Deepwood Scouts with these Swift Shiver Shards. Another tongue twister for you there. And looks like the Branch Wraith, the Branch Wraith coming in with the steel chair. I bet the attack animation is just going to be super lackluster after we say that. But she does pin those guys in place, allows the Swift Shiver Shards to get some pretty good volleys, and the Dryads are coming in as well. So little sister action coming in here, and the Gutter Runner is actually getting picked apart, so just crazy stuff. But again, the Skaven have a really good situation here. The Plague Monks have Death Frenzy, melee attack and weapon damage, 47 weapon damage on these Censor Bears, and they have the Glade Lord completely surrounded. Her leadership's at 14. She's just getting pummeled by these guys. I mean, Censor Bears are one of those units. Yes, they're glass cannons, but if they're able to just sit and just club on something, they can drag down dinosaurs. They can drag down Bastillodons, like heavily armored troops, lords. Just so powerful. In the back, the Glade Lord, or the Glade Lords, the Way Watchers are able to pick apart the clan rats with shields. It looks like they were actually fighting in melee a little bit. Obviously, he's not wasting any ammunition. You can see Fire at Will has been taken off. Otherwise, they would be shooting these clan rats right now. And there are some advancing troops. It looks like there's some Poison Wind Globadiers pushing up with the support of some clan rats with shields. So the Way Watcher is probably just going to pick apart these Poison Wind Globadiers. Just use the last of their ammo to get rid of them because they are a powerful unit. So here you go. You can see the volley coming in, just going to be massive damage on these guys. Yes, they have 100 armor. You can see that as soon as that volley hits, they get put to negative 18 leadership. Just the damage of Way Watchers is so insane. They break right there. And the Eternal Guard, 58 models, will easily be able to deal with clan rats with spears. Just kind of a better troop in general. But here, this is really the epicenter of the battlefield. The Glade Lord actually breaks, so the Skaven could potentially chase it off the battlefield. If they can get some Rat Ogres or pretty much anything and chase it or kill it, that could actually get them back in the game. And the balance of power is actually creeping back towards the middle a little bit, and the Skaven have a massive numbers advantage here. So you can see that these Clan Rats and the Censor Bears and everyone else are going to be surrounding the Branch Wraith, and the Censor Bears with the leadership penalty, and another Death Frenzy being cast from the Warlock Engineer. Just outstanding stuff here. The Branch Wraith is getting taken down, 16 leadership, and it looks like the Glade Lord might get away. And if it runs this direction, the Way Watchers might be able to peel the Rat Ogres off and kind of rescue it. But yeah, he definitely wants to finish off that Glade Lord. That's going to help him really kind of clinch the game here. So dead even at this point. Bounce power has shifted in both players' favor throughout the game. But here it's looking, yeah, I mean, there's certainly no clear winner. The Glade Lord here does have 465 HP. Gutter Runner is chasing down 57 57 models, 51 models. And it looks like the Branch Wraith is broken as well. So the Wood Elves are pretty much without leadership now. They have Eternal Guard, 58 models here. 2 groups of Way Watchers. One has 30, the other one has 43, so in relative good health. Warp Lightning Cannon's pretty much offline, so the crew is basically just going to be fighting. So it's basically this Skaven blob right here versus the remnants of the Wood Elves, but they are being sandwiched. Some of these rats, 69, that's what she said, coming back in. They're going to be chasing. They have shields. I mean, really stressing the micro of the Wood Elves here, having to like pull in all directions and, you know, save their ammunition. But the Eternal Guard here, oh, going to get hit by Warp Lightning. That does some pretty good damage right there. Definitely buckling the leadership, putting them down to the 12. And it looks like the Way Watchers at this point are like, all right, we just got to fight. We got to go fisticuffs. Let's use our ammo. Let's pick these guys apart. But yeah, this is brutal. Losing the Lord. If I'm not mistaken, the Lord is getting chased off. So very good stuff. Not letting the Glade Lord get away, you know, unimpeded. Chase it down, kill it. That's definitely going to help you secure an advantage here. So balance of power now heavily in favor of the Skaven. Just a massive advantage. But the Way Watchers are still here. And like I said, they're not bad in melee. Here comes a volley just picking apart those Plague Monks, doing some pretty good stuff there. They're now at 8, 9, looks like 13 leadership. So focus fire from the Way Watchers not bad. They do have 1 volley left. That's pretty much it. But, you know, they still have 30 models here. They should be able to break this guy. Oh, and they rallied the Branch Wraith. That is huge. If that Branch Wraith had broken off the battlefield, I'm 100% certain the game would have gone in the favor of this game. But if the Branch Wraith can get back and fight with the Way Watchers, give that melee attack buff to them with the Call of the Wild, that could actually make these Way Watchers strong enough to get through the Rat Ogres and the remnants of the Skaven forces. So that is amazing for the Wood Elves now that that's back online. The Rat Ogres are just going to be hunting, taking some heavy fire as they do so, and it looks like a couple coming down. The Way Watchers are going to be fighting. Branch Wraith is going to be rushing in as well, providing that melee attack buff, and fear as well. So the Rat Ogres, do they cause fear? So units that cause fear are immune to fear, so that doesn't actually matter there. But nonetheless, the Rat Ogres here get broken off. The other one's getting broken off as well. So suddenly, the Wood Elves are able to rally to the Queen, or the Queen Branch Wraith here. And it looks like the Way Watcher crew's coming in. These clan rats with spears are pushing in. The Warlock Engineer lurking on the wings, but suddenly, I mean, that just looked like it was a Skaven game, like 100%. But now the Wood Elves are able to kind of push them back a little bit here. The crew gets taken out. And now they actually have a really scary Death Star. I mean, Way Watchers, like I said, not bad in melee, and he has a full health group of 43 models, and the Skaven just have a bunch of tattered, kind of disconjointed troops here. So they charge in here. The final fight is underway. The Way Watchers are going to be fighting Clan Rats. They definitely have the advantage. They just have better combat stats. Maybe less numbers in like a straight-up fight, but at this point, the Skaven are just so beat up. The Branch Wraith is going to be causing fear and just routing off these rats even quicker. And the Branch Wraith is just going and just karate leaping through the air on top of that Warlock Engineer. Just absolute insanity. Some of these Eternal Guard are going to be pushing in as well. Gutter Runners here look to have 35 models up, but they're all breaking. And it looks like the Skaven are going to be having a mass rout here. And you can see the Wood Elves are able to clean up this pocket. There's the Warp Lightning crew. There's some Rat Ogres coming back, but there's Eternal Guard here. They were braced for the charge. They're going to be going in, and it is the final showdown. The Skaven charging in. Way Watchers with the support of the Branch Wraith, cutting apart these Rat Ogres. You can see they're falling. Rat Ogres, of course, clubbing a couple of troops, but I really don't think they have the stopping power. I mean, they have the support of the cannon crew, which is, you know, their bodies, I suppose, but they're not going to do a whole lot. And that looks like it's going to be it. The Wood Elves are able to take that game, which is absolute insanity. That was such back and forth play, just amazing stuff from both players. So very well played to both Zablaski as well as Arrow Krasik. That was one of the more fun games I've cast here on the channel in a while. Very back and forth. I mean, man, that was like 20 minutes long almost. It was just awesome. So the front line of the Wood Elves really got buckled initially by the Skaven. They then got forced back, but with some really good rallying and micro, he was able to kind of recoup himself. And same thing with the Skaven. I mean, he was so down at several points, but he remained focused. He kept his center bearers kind of working on the enemy lords. He killed the Glade Lord. He almost got the Branch Wraith. And I think the fact that the Branch Wraith was able to rally there at the end was just the straw that broke the Skaven's back for sure. But man, that was a great game. So again, big thanks to you guys for sending me the game. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this Wood Elf for Skaven Showdown. You guys, we got a lot more content coming soon.